Edinburgh University's Professor Jan Webb is co-director of the UK Energy Research Centre. Good morning to you, Professor Webb.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on to talk to us once again. It's something I don't think I'd ever given much thought to, is the role of local government in net zero, but actually it's fairly big, isn't it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I would say that local government could help enormously with central government set climate change targets. And we need to use all of our local governments, their powers, the fact that they know the business on the ground in their locality, that they have some very good established links with small businesses as well, and of course with communities. But at the moment, they don't have the technical skills, particularly in order to push forward with local net zero planning. And many of them have good ambitions, good demonstration projects, but of course we need the momentum to carry that forward at scale.
How do they go about that?
Well, at present, I give you one example which we've studied over a number of years. They have been running, along with Scottish Government, energy efficiency projects in particular areas and trying to upgrade all of the buildings in that area, say an area of Edinburgh or Glasgow or Aberdeen or Dunfermline or wherever, to upgrade the buildings in that area to make them much warmer and more comfortable and ready for much more extreme weather that we're already beginning to see. And we know that that improves people's sense of pride in place, of enjoyable places to be, seeing it as a better community, but also, of course, gives them more affordable bills.
Yeah, we heard there from the Holyrood's Net Zero Committee that it's going to cost, they reckon, an average of around £33 billion in order to decarbonise buildings across Scotland. Central government would struggle to pay that, never mind local government. How do they go about it?
Well, it needs to be shared. I think it is an enormous job of collaboration and coordination. So, but just one study, for instance, of private homeowner funding during the first phase of lockdown showed that something like £40 billion was invested in home improvement projects. Now, obviously, a lot of that wasn't directed to upgrading the energy performance and warmth of your house. But it does suggest that over the next 20 years or so, that private investment in our property could well be forthcoming, along with contributions from central government, particularly for those who can't afford to pay, obviously. It will need, I think, regulatory backstops so that we all know what's expected of us and then can build that upgrade work into other home improvements, for example. So it's absolutely routinized.
We spoke to Friends of the Earth Scotland a little earlier in the programme that their experience was that there's a willingness there at local authority level, but they just need more staff and expertise and more sharing of that information. Is that the way that you would see it?
Yeah, I think what we saw with the pilot projects, for example, in Energy Efficient Scotland, is that those contracts were quite short term. And so to carry forward, upgrade a programme at scale in a particular neighbourhood, that funding needed to go across more than one financial year. And also people's contracts of employment in the council needed to be for the long term, so that the knowledge they gained was not lost on the 31st of March each year when the council struggled to re-employ them on another contract. And meanwhile, they were probably moving on to something else. So you got this continual breakdown in the institutional memory, which had to be rebuilt each time at great loss of momentum and pace. Great shame not to have that longer-term continuity.
So actually we should be, training more planning officers, encourage them to remain within local government so that they can see some of these much bigger projects through?
Yes, definitely. I think planning is part of the answer. We've seen the downgrading of planning functions in local authorities so that we now think, oh, this is terrible. It takes too long to get anything through. We're not seeing consistent action on the ground, so that then the public don't come along with that. They're not so interested and engaged. And also, we don't have the skills at local authority level to make sure that those plans come together around sustainable communities, around the long-term needs that we have to make sure our building stock and our roads and streets are fit for purpose.
Jan, thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. Professor Jan Webb there, who's co-director of the UK Energy Research Centre.